So, welcome. This is June's episode of Wednesday webinar. I am Lisa Brown. I am the CEO and founder of CST Group and your host today. I am so glad you could join me for this 30-minute session. Email is a huge topic right now, so it's impossible to cover in 30 minutes. However, my goal today is to provide you with some basic information on a few steps you can take to make sure you're protecting yourself and your company. Okay. On the call with me today is Sarah. She is going to be watching the Q&A. I encourage you to please ask questions. This is the perfect opportunity for you to just me and you hashing out some concerns. So please be sure to use the Q&A. Okay. All right. So email, it is your biggest risk. And how are you managing it? So let's get started. Okay, on the agenda today, we're going to talk about business email compromise. That is called BEC in our world. And I'm not one to really appreciate acronyms. So I spelled it all the way out. What is it and why do we care? Identifying phishing attempts. I need you to be aware of what to look for. And it's getting more and more complicated with AI. So we're going to talk just a little bit about that. Steps you can take to prevent email compromise, tips to help manage employee email, encryption, when and why do you need it? Do you not? And some best email practices that you can implement now. Okay, so we really do have some call to actions. All right, so what percentage of cybersecurity incidences start with an employee getting phished? And it's believed that more than 90% of cyber attacks are initiated as a result of a phishing email. That is a huge number, guys. And you cannot micromanage staff. So you cannot stand over everybody to determine what they're getting in their email inboxes and what they're clicking on. Okay. So data from Abnormal Security shows that a median of 28% of business email compromise attacks are opened by employees, and 15% of emails that are read are actually responded to. So you can see that this requires the human factor. So you are depending on your staff to not infect your company. And we really need to focus on the human factor today. Okay. All right. Spam is still a problem. Why is this such a big deal? Right. So here's the email process, and I'm going to give it to you at the top level of how this functions. But you write an email. You're at your keyboard. You've typed in the subject. You're writing your email. You press the send button, right? You press the send. Your mail server, whoever you're using, if you're a client, you're 90% using a Microsoft product. So it goes through the mail servers with Microsoft to identify the remote server by looking for an MX record. Now, that's some complicated stuff on the back end, but ideally, it needs to direct where it's going. Okay. It needs to identify where you're sending it to. Okay. So your local server sends your message to the receiving mail server, and the email bounces around the internet to find the best route. Okay. Then the email arrives in the inbox of the recipient. Okay. Now, it's a little bit more complicated than that. However, I need you to strip it down and think of it like a postcard. Okay. Now, if you would not communicate the information you're trying to pass via a postcard where the world has access to it when you drop it in your mailbox, then you don't want to communicate that same information via an email. Okay. So if you just strip it down to say, would I write this on a postcard and just throw it in the mailbox for anybody and everybody to see? That's how you have to think about email. Okay. So if you communicate that way to your staff, they get a better understanding of, oh crap, would I write that on a postcard and put it in a mailbox? Probably not. Okay. So please understand email is super important. Okay, in that process, your email can be compromised. So the minute you hit send, it's as if the mailman at the street has picked up your letters. You no longer have access to them, right? And you trust the mailman to actually get them from point A to point B without opening your letters, reading the information, and stealing it, right? And it's the same concept with your inbox. You hit send, you've lost control of it. It goes out, it bounces around the internet until it finds its correct destination, right? Then it drops it in their inbox. And that is the problem. The problem is that the minute you hit send, your email can be grabbed by software from hackers that are actually looking for keywords within your email. Okay, and those some of those keywords are common: account, any dollar sign, any number, any date of birth, social security number, any HIPAA medical, any reference to medical information, any reference to bank info, any reference to routing numbers. So they have a database of keywords that they're looking for in the billions of email that are being passed around the internet. Okay. All right. All right. So why do hackers care about email? It's big business. $20.5 billion in 2021. Billion. And it's expected to hit $265 billion in 2031. Now, people will come to me and say, Lisa, I'm small. I'm small. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They do care because small business is the number one hacked industry. Small business, they don't care whether it's $10,000 or whether it's $2,000 because you all are not thinking about it. So you don't think it matters, but to them it does. Okay, so please be careful with regards to email. It's big business, and hackers actually have whole companies. They have whole companies in other countries that are truly doing this. They go to work just like you and me. Okay, except they're after your data and they're after obviously our money. So, all right. So, what can you do about it? I try to make these webinars very informational with regards to action, right? Call to actions that you can actually implement. So, here's going to be, I'm going to, from this point forward, give you kind of some tips. So, what can you do about it? Okay. So, attackers target people, not infrastructure. So this is just three little charts with regards to the volume of smishing attacks, the volume of social media attacks, the volume of vishing, and the volume of malicious like USB drops. So this is just the statistics. And as you can see, 74% of organizations face some smishing attacks. 74 organizations are social media. 69 of organizations faced vishing attacks. So just understand they're targeting people, not your network infrastructure. Okay. All right. Be careful with how you share your email address. Every online store you shop with can share your email address unless they specifically state they won't. Okay. Do not fill out online surveys. So I know that you want to compare yourself on your socials and Facebook and fill out the survey and tell us answer these 10 questions. Please do not. They are gathering data. So those surveys are specifically designed to get to know you. That's what they're doing. They're trying to crack passwords. They're trying to get to know you with regards to what you would use for your security questions. So please do not fill out online surveys. Do not answer questions about your likes and your dislikes. So be careful with answering any type of personal information, and never participate in social media surveys. They're designed to get to know you and therefore break any security questions. Okay. All right. Now, I know where I'm going just a little bit off topic. If you know me, that you know that that's not unusual. Okay. However, if you have children, if you have teenage children, if you have anywhere between 8 and 18, I want to express concern with regards to what their social media accounts look like. So please educate your children with regards to not putting where you live, pictures of your house, if you're going on vacation, if they what who their friends are. Like, they do not want to post certain things because unfortunately your kids are also under attack. So please be careful. Educate them. That's all I'm asking. Educate your children. Okay. Never click on a link in an email if you cannot verify who sent it and why they sent it. Okay. Never open attachments in an email if you cannot verify who sent it and why they sent it. Okay. Never allow anyone to remote into your computer without understanding who and why, and never do financial transactions via email without confirming who and why. Okay. Use encryption for all confidential emails exchanging sensitive information. Okay. Remember who and why. And when in doubt, call. Okay. So I know I have preached this. I have preached this. If you're a client on here, I apologize because I preach this to all of you on a regular basis, right? This is my standard. Like, hey, just heads up. If you are new here, then I really want to make sure you understand that when you're dealing with email, they try to catch you. They try to catch you with regards to whether you're having a bad day, there could be some stress in your life that you're experiencing. It could be related to something, right? Like, for example, I was struggling with PayPal. Now, I use PayPal. Many of you probably do. I received information. It was kind of weird. It's like my PayPal account, I went in, I logged in myself, checked my PayPal account, and it appeared to be okay. But then I got an email. And the email said, hey, your PayPal account has been compromised. But was it? So if I would have clicked on the link because there was some association with something that had recently happened to me, I kind of it triggered like, uh-oh, like something's happening. When in fact, it was fine. It was fine. There was no need for me to call the number or click the link. So please be careful. I need everyone when you're processing your email to just make sure that it's who and why. Even if it's somebody you know. I have am fished a lot because I'm out there a lot, right? And they have grabbed my email, my information, and they truly will represent. They'll send an email, and you'll think it's from me. So you know me, like if you know me, you know that I kind of how I word emails. You know how I do certain things. So if it looks weird, if you feel like oh that's a little suspicious, call me. Okay, and you're going to take that approach with every email you want to act on. Okay. Identifying phishing attempts, and here's some things that you can look for within your email. Okay. Who is the message from? Right? Who is it from? Is it from Lisa Brown? Okay, great. Why? Why am I emailing you? Normally, it's the subject line. That's kind of how I sort my email is I sort it based on who and the subject line. And then urgency should never be acted upon without verification. So if you ever receive an email and you know who it's from, you're a little confused on the why, like you're not really sure. Okay, that's weird. But then there's in the body of the email, there's some urgency, like you've been hacked, the account has been compromised. Click this link to act now. Okay, no. Okay. Urgency should never be acted upon without some type of verification. Okay. All right. Now I've given you some examples. Now, here's the things to evaluate. It's in red in the corner of your slide. So, obviously, the subject line, and you can see like commercial lines, invoice attached. Like, I don't know what commercial lines is, but they've attached an invoice. And it's like, do I know them? It's an immediate delete. Okay. The one on the far left is portal administrator. There's a ticket reference number. Do I know them? No, no, I don't. I don't think I do. Like I've never heard of that company. Now, if I take a deeper dive and I look at the sender's email address, you can see that one of them is a no reply at SRB. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that. Now, it truly does say portal administrator. For some of you, you may have seen something like Lisa Brown in there, but it wasn't my email. Right, it wasn't my email address. Up in the top one is this commercial lines admin. Once again, that email is not one that I am familiar with. So that's bogus, right? But then look at what the body of the messages are, the content. It says, please see attached. Now that's all it says. Okay, that's all it says. So if you have a vendor that you're consistently working with, and do they normally just say, please see attached and click a button? Normally not. Normally there's some explanation in there or there's some nicety in there. And then the one on the bottom in green is just a message portal. I don't know why I would ever need to go into a portal that I've never been to. So there's obviously questions that I have with regards to both of these emails. So it's delete, delete. That's what it is. Okay. So please be careful with regards to being able to identify subject line, sender's email, and the content. All right. All right. Now here's 6 steps you can take to prevent email compromise. Okay. You can write these down. I'd like you to write them down. However, Sarah will be sending you a copy of the slide deck. So you're going to get this whole slide deck. Okay. Now, here's what I would recommend. I'd recommend that you pass it to your employees, pass it to your coworkers, encourage them. I know that you all get my invites for the webinars. If you think that this is beneficial to your people, your employees, your team, please share them. I can get you all at the same time. Okay. All right. Number one, use a professional email domain. Okay. Instead of Gmail, Yahoo, AOL. If you are still using a public domain, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, Verizon, TWCNY, any of those, I would really encourage you to get out of that. I can't protect those. I can't protect those. So I'd prefer you get into a domained email. Okay. And it should be part of your marketing anyway. So, all right. Number two, enable. And I know this is a little technical, so please, I apologize, but talk to your team. If it's us, we got you. Enable SPF, DKIM, and DMARC entries in your DNS records. If you have another IT firm, that's fantastic. I have no problem with that as long as they're doing a good job for you, right? That's the goal. Your team should be doing a good job. And they should have enabled all of those things. If they have not, check them, write that down, check to make sure that they've enabled that. Add a spam filter of some sort. Okay. Add a spam filter just to kind of eliminate that crap from even coming into your inbox. Use proactive common sense. Now, I know that that is relative, right, to who you are and how you were taught and your values. But common sense is common sense. So if it seems weird, if you get a little feeling like, I don't know what that is, just delete. Okay. Use proactive common sense. Add encryption capabilities. So if you are sending email that has anything in it that you would not write in a postcard, then you need to you need to be able to encrypt it. And what encryption does is the minute you hit send, it jarbles the email content. It jarbles it so that as it travels through the internet and bounces around places, people can't read it. And that way, when it lands, the person has to type a password to get it. Now, yes, is it a pain? Maybe. We use encryption here all the time, but is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it. So please make sure that you have enabled some type of encryption capabilities. And then I would encourage everybody to have a managed firewall. Okay. Now the firewall is a piece of equipment, guys. It's a piece of equipment that's going to sit in your office somewhere. And someone should be paying attention to it. Someone should be watching the traffic that you're getting from the internet that's coming into your building. And somebody needs to keep an eye on that. And we do. If you're a client, we got you. If you have a firewall, then all of our clients normally have them. So we manage that for you. We look at it. We pay attention to it. 365 days a year, we have a NOC team, a network operations center that keeps an eye on your traffic to make sure nobody's trying to get in or bad stuff get in. Okay. All right. So 6 steps. Those are them. Okay. So take action on all of those. Tips to manage employee email. Okay. So I struggle because I, like many of you, have employees. And I am not one to micromanage. I am one to give tasks and then I know that they'll get them done. And I can't, none of us have time to really stand behind somebody and review all of their emails and what they're actually clicking on. Okay. So here is some things that you can do. Number one, educate. Now, I'm not talking about once in a while, let's just throw out, hey, by the way, don't click on stuff. I'm talking a regular conversation. It needs to be ongoing. If you have staff meetings, remind them every staff meeting. Give them examples. If you need examples of bad stuff coming through your email, reach out. I will give you actual examples of stuff we hear every day. Okay. So please make it an ongoing educational thing. Try to do it during your staff meetings. Document that you're doing it so that during an audit, if you're in that compliance industry, document that, hey, conversation was had. This is what was said. This is what was discussed. Okay. All right. Now, number 2 is initiate some ongoing security awareness training. Now, security awareness training is some automation. Now, if you're a client, we can do that for you if we are not already. But it is ultimately a way for us to judge which employees are putting you at the greatest risk. So we ultimately send what appears to be real emails, but are actually bogus emails, and we track them. So we track who gets them. We track whether or not they click a link in it. And then we track whether or not they click the link and enter data. And when we get that report at the end of every quarter, we can say, hey, Sue over here truly clicked a couple of links. So do you mind if, Mr. CEO, if I educate her just a little bit more on what to look for? Okay. Okay. Now this little Joe over here, he not only clicked the link, but he entered his date of birth and social security number in this little fake form that we had. So do you mind, if I educate that person? So we can really identify who, if any, is putting you at risk. Okay, so it's an actual quarterly thing. For it's ongoing, but we report quarterly. All right, so that was number two. Number three is get inboxes under control. Okay, so I know many of you actually have out of control inboxes, and yes, I'm looking at you. And I need to make sure that you're getting that under control with regards to how much is in your inbox. It's especially for staff because you just want to make sure that they're not using it as a place to store their stuff, right? Store important stuff. So try to get your inboxes under control. Encourage your staff to get their inboxes under control. So here's a couple of tips. When you are in an email group, a distribution group, do not hit the reply all unless the information you're responding with will be helpful for the entire group. So raise your hand if you've ever felt like, why did you hit reply all to tell me that you're going? Like, why did you hit reply all to give me a thumbs up? Like, I don't need that. So please do not use reply all unless you feel like the entire group can benefit. Empty your deleted folders items. So oftentimes you'll delete an email, but then it sits out there in your deleted items folder in your little trash can. So periodically clean out that trash. Okay, and do not keep every email you think is important. I am to blame for that. I track a lot. I audit a lot. I correspond with many people, and I feel like that email might be important. How often have I gone back on those emails? Maybe in my 24 years in business, maybe twice. So I need to learn myself that I don't need to keep every email that I think is important because obviously I don't need to. Okay, so those are the three things. Let's go into some encryption. All right, so I get this question a lot with regards to why do I need it and when do I use it? And encryption, so all emails, let me check, all emails sent that contain sensitive information, personal identifiable information, or financial information should be encrypted. Okay. Now, if you're a client and you have our encryption capabilities, then you have a keyword that you type. You type that in the body of the email or in the subject of the email. When you type that keyword, it actually encrypts the email. Okay. Then you get a notice that says, hey, said email was encrypted. Okay, perfect. So do you need to encrypt every email? No, no, you don't need to encrypt every email. Me corresponding back and forth with you just with regards to an issue or a problem that's kind of generic. No, I don't need to encrypt those emails. I do need to encrypt those emails if I believe that what I'm writing in the email is not something I would write on a postcard. Okay. So please make sure that you have encryption capabilities. We provide it to our clients as an option. If you have a different tech person, I'm sure they do. So just reach out with regards to what they use as their encryption tool. Okay. So here's a summary, guys. So pro email, use a professional email address with your domain. Okay. Uh, Cautious. So I need you to be cautious with spam. It is at an all-time high. And this is where I want to touch on AI because artificial intelligence is here, whether we like it or not. And it can be incredibly helpful. I'm going to be doing an AI webinar just because I feel like there's some tips that I can give you that are really cool that I think would make your day easier. But hackers are using it too. And that means it's getting a little bit more complicated to identify emails because they're using AI to write them. where we used to be able to identify mistyped words or words in the wrong space. That is going away because they're using AI. So be cautious of spam. Implement some protocols with SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. That can be done by whoever manages your technology. Educate everyone and implement ongoing security awareness training. Okay, that's really the only way that I can identify who could potentially put you at risk. Is to send them some security awareness training. Encrypt all email containing financial information, PII, anything like that. Please make sure that you are encrypting, and then clean out your inbox and be sure to empty your deleted items folders regularly. Okay. All right. So I'm hoping that I have given you some really handy tips to proactively control. I know that it needs to be an ongoing conversation. You need to make sure education stays really high up on your expectations. If you give your staff expectations of what you need to happen when they're managing their email, then at least you have some action to take. Okay. All right. So here's our upcoming webinars. There is some risk assessments that I would really want to educate you about. I'd like to offer some risk assessments to you. I am going to be co-hosting with NYMAR. That is still pending. I'm reaching out to Elizabeth to see if we can talk about cyber liability insurance requirements. And NYMAR is a huge provider for municipalities. That's one of our niches. We're going to talk about budgets and contracts in September. So if you attend no other webinar, please make sure that you attend that one because you're all locking into contracts that are making me crazy. I'm going to talk about backup versus recovery, surfing restrictions, and end of year technology wrap up. I may switch one of those out for AI. That is a huge topic, so just stay tuned with your email. Okay. All right. Now, as always, we do a little special offer. If you are a client, you don't need to worry about it because we already have you on this stuff. But if you are new here, I would be willing to do a dark web scan. And what that does is it does a surface level of whether or not your domain is on the dark web for sale. If it's for sale, we have some action that we can implement with regards to protecting you. I also am willing to do some network assessments. That's just me having a conversation with a potential client with regards to how can we help? What is your IT doing if you have one? What do they need to do better? It's just kind of a third party. You get me to kind of bounce ideas off of in some of your struggles. Okay. Okay. So Sarah, I know that you are there. Any questions?
We do have a couple. I've been using a Gmail address for 10 plus years. How do I get a domain email and not lose those emails all while communicating with my customers?
Okay, so that is a huge thing, actually. It's a huge thing when we talk to new clients because a lot of new clients that we acquire will have some type of public email address. All right, it's not hard. So what we would do is we'd establish a domain email. So a domain is basically your website. So for us, it's cstsupport.com, right? So cstsupport.com is our website. So that's where you go to find us on the web. It is also the end of our email. So I am Lisa at cstsupport.com and my website is cstsupport.com. So they match up, right? So you can purchase a domain, okay, yourcompany.com. And you don't have to have a website because people will say, I don't want a website. I don't want a website. Well, that's your prerogative, right? You don't have to have a website with a domain, but we would buy a domain for you. You would on your behalf, and then we would just add emails to that. Now, when it comes to your Gmail, we would start by getting all of your email into your business email. So we would export it, and then if you wanted to keep that Gmail, we would forward everything into your business email until your clients got used to using it. Okay. Once your client got used to using your new email address, your Gmail address, we'd eventually just fade out. We'd close it out. So it isn't complicated. You should not lose anything. Your clients should be able to still communicate with you, whether they know your new email or whether they know the Gmail. So it's a relatively easy transition. Okay. Just hire an expert to do it. So if you have somebody else on your tech, that's fine. But just make sure that you hire them to do it for you. Anything else, Sarah?
How do you handle an email phishing attempt or email account compromise?
Okay. So if you click a link in an email and you believe that something happened and you're a client, just reach out to my help desk, because they'll be able to run some scans on the back end. We want to make sure that you are securing passwords. I cannot stress enough how many of you are still using the same password for multiple accounts. You can't do that anymore. You can't use an easy 8, 9 word password anymore. They're too easy to crack. So we want to, many of you, I think if you do get a phishing attempt or an email compromise, we got to talk about password management, because if they're easy to crack, then we're concerned about all of your accounts, not just your email. Okay. So first thing to do is call your tech, call whoever's managing your technology, and then change your password. Okay. So if you're in your email, you click the link. We want you to change the password in your email. And we want it to be complicated. I'm talking 16 characters or more. Okay. So we are recommending not words anymore, right? Not a word. It's not a password. It's a passphrase. So we're recommending passphrases. We're recommending password managers that give you administrative control over everyone's password, or your entire team. So just change your password, call your tech. All right, guys, it is top of the hour. It is 9:31. I apologize for going a minute over. If you have any questions, any other questions, my contact information is there. Sarah's information is there. So please reach out with regards to us being able to help you. I appreciate you very much, and I will see you next Wednesday or next month. Next month, I'll see you. Bye, everybody.